Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? Who am I as a government, or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body, is because of your relationship with your body and your God. I don't have that right. Government does not have that right.
It's wild to hear people speak like that with courage. Anyway, joining me now, the Surgeon General of Florida, Dr. Joseph Ladapo. Hey, doctor, why are you banning people from getting vaccines?
We're actually going to get rid of all the vaccines in the state. We're going to hide them in a cave. No one will ever be able to get another vaccine in the state of Florida. That's the plan. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, so I always say they're all available. They're all going to be available. All of the standard vaccines. I'm not talking about mRNA here. That's a special case. But they're available. We're just talking about letting parents choose. I mean, who knew that the idea that parents know best for their children when it comes to the medications they receive was such a controversial topic.
Doctor, can you explain how we got to a place in America where this is even remotely controversial, that parents should be able to decide, that people are against mandates? It's just wild for me as a free American who very much values that freedom to see so many Americans hate it.
It's really sad. And it reminds me, I'll tell you, Jesse, I didn't know, when I was a kid, we had that presidential fitness award. And I remember being excited about that and, doing pull-ups and push-ups and other things. I didn't know it went away. And with President Trump trying to bring it back, I was reading this article in the New York Times about how experts were worried that it could hurt the feelings of children or something. And it's the answer to that question, that we could be so ridiculous as to feel like we have to protect children from, aiming for physical fitness goals, is the same answer to the question of how we are, it's controversial to push back on the notion that the government, rather than a parent, decides what vaccines a child takes. So it's all part of the same corrupted, sordid energy and entity, and it's so important that we push back. If it wasn't present, all that nonsense we saw during COVID would not have been possible. But sadly, it was possible because that's where we are right now.
Is this about money? Does this come down to, look, everyone has their own opinion on this thing, but let's sift through that. Is this just simply about money? Is this pharma money? Are all these mandates about people making money?
Yeah, money's a part of it. And pharma definitely is intimidated by the notion that they lose the leverage of a mandate. They're definitely that will have a big deal for their bottom line, and they definitely care about that. But among physicians, it's really about religion. Aaron Siri, who's an amazing, brilliant attorney, just wrote this book, and I think it's titled "Vaccines, Amen." And for physicians and scientists, many of them, that's what it's about, and that's harder to navigate.
I've seen you multiple times promote this kooky idea about exercise. You want to explain that?
I know it's a really foreign concept to to apparently, if you go to medical school or get a PhD, you forget how important these things are. But yeah, man, it's like it's so important, right? It's really important to take care of our bodies as well as we can, and it affects your immune system. You know, it affects your mood, it affects your energy, it affects your susceptibility to illness and disease. So it affects your susceptibility to cancer. So it's really important.
You have been a hardliner on the mRNA stuff. It seems as if a lot of this thinking is starting to bleed over into the federal government, CDC. Do you like the things you're seeing from the feds?
I do. And, Robert F. Kennedy he's a good friend of mine, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Martin McCary, and Dr. Oz too, great guys, great doctors. And, they're up against a lot. This stuff like this, we didn't get to where we are overnight. This is very, very, very entrenched, the things that they are up against. But, they're working through it, and, God bless them for doing it. And I know people also complain, and God bless them for complaining too. If people don't like things that are happening, it's important that they express it. And but I also know that those guys are doing the best that they can.
Doctor, the trust the public puts in organizations like the CDC has been shattered, possibly permanently. How do we get it back?
Well, one step of that is to let go of mandates, because that's a major part of distrust that we saw over the last few years. But it's going to be hard, man. They have, when these guys, when Dr. Linares, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name, but their former director and their other senior leadership resigned, they had this rally, I think, the next day, and they are really, really, they're like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to vaccines. It's just like they're very intelligent people, obviously, but you put the vaccine chip in there and they just can't think straight anymore. So that's hard to overcome. It's very hard to overcome. But a right leadership, and it's hard because you need both the strong scientific background, but you also need the character, like someone who can lead, someone who inspires and rouses people out of whatever state they are and orients them toward a state that they intrinsically feel is better and more meritorious. So it's going to be hard because it's hard to find that type of individual, but I think that's what it's going to take.
Doctor, I appreciate you very much. Keep doing what you do. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.